Hello everyone, I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching ABC 10 Plus this week. A Korean War soldier from Woodland finally comes home after 74 years. We hear from his family. And in dollars and cents, why are California gas prices still so high? An expert explains. Then we hit the back roads. John Bartel takes us to Nevada County to take a look at a rare piece of railroad history. ABC 10 Plus this week starts now.
Four people are behind bars accused of crashing a car into a Modesto jewelry store before robbing it in broad daylight.
And tonight the search is on for more than a dozen suspects in the case. Modesto police are now saying the same group is linked to similar robberies from the Bay Area to Beverly Hills.
ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has the details.
It all started with this crash Sunday afternoon. And within just 60 seconds, more than 20 masked robbers run into and out of Psy Jewelers off Sisk Road, some with hammers in hand, one suspect slipping on a shard of glass on the way in. Another commanding the criminals to work faster. Getaway cars waiting for the group eventually speed off, police only able to stop one of them.
Is that many people?
We showed the video to Rajesh Singh.
This is not safe to the community at all. This is really, really bad and ridiculous.
He and his wife were hoping to get their jewelry fixed Monday, but instead walked up to boarded windows.
It's not really helpful to the business guys. So I don't know how long they will be closing down, and they will be losing their business for certain days or time, whatever time it will be closed.
From broken glass on the ground to skid marks, the damage here is still fresh. It's also shockingly similar to another daylit jewelry store heist in Tracy 2 weeks ago. Modesto police now linking the same robbery crew to similar cases in Oakland, Alameda County, and Beverly Hills.
This is very, very embarrassing, and it's not safe to the public, and not safe to the people who are working inside the store. And even if there was people in surrounding, that could have been in danger too.
No injuries were reported, but for employees and customers, their sense of safety was shattered Sunday in just seconds.
That's very dangerous. They can do this anywhere, even in anybody's house. It's not good at all, and it's not safe.
In Modesto, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
Very alarming. Gabriel, thank you. The suspects range in age from 19 to 24. Modesto police are asking anyone with information to come forward.
For more than 7 decades, a family waited for answers after a 17-year-old from Woodland went missing during one of the most deadly battles of the Korean War.
Next month, he's finally coming home. ABC 10's Luke Clary sat down with his sister, now in her 80s, as she reflects on the heartbreak, the hope, and the moment she finally got the call.
It was December 1950. One of the Korean War's most infamous battles took place at the Chosin Reservoir among the frozen mountains of North Korea. Chinese troops surrounded American forces, including 17-year-old Army Corporal Albert Estrada of Woodland. He never came home.
He was just a really good brother. He looked after us.
And for more than 70 years, his sister, Ruth Tucker, never stopped wondering what happened, never stopped praying.
Did you pray for his return?
Oh, all the time, all the time. And my mom lit a candle, a votive candle, and kept it burning for him.
Her mother got a telegram from the Army.
I almost know it by heart. And the telegram just said he was reported missing in action. And we will continue to look for him, and we will be notified.
3 years later, the Army told them Albert was presumed dead. And so began several more decades of waiting until...
Freeze it! Oh!
In 2018, a diplomatic breakthrough. North Korea returned 55 boxes of remains to the United States.
Did you believe that Albert might be among those boxes?
I did. I thought, okay, they're going to find him.
But the wait continued. Another 7 years until a call from the Department of Defense.
And what was that moment like for you?
When they called, he said, "Are you sitting down?" "Yes." "Are you alone?" "Yes." And I knew what he was going to say. He said, "I have good news for you." He said, "We have found your brother's remains, and we have identified him through DNA. And I was just shaking and started crying. And he said, we're going to bring him home. And it was just like words I never thought I'd hear.
Next month, Albert's remains will return to Woodland. His family will bury him at the cemetery next to his mother. A prayer answered, and one of America's sons finally comes home.
Mom waited and waited all those years, and thank goodness, you know. I do believe that they're together, so that helps us.
In Woodland, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
A very moving and powerful story, Luke. Thank you. Estrada's remains will be returned to his family June 13th. The burial will be held a few days later on June 18th. Time now for Dollars and Cents. Many of you are feeling the pinch at the gas pump. Here at ABC 10, we stand for you, and viewers are writing in asking why gas prices are still so high in California, despite recent declines across the country. I talked with an economics expert for answers. It's no secret, gas prices in California are high, much higher than the rest of the country. And many of you are noticing. Viewer Vicky Onquest wrote to me asking, why are California gas prices still so high? Some here in Lodi are over $5 per gallon. Vicky is right to ask, considering on average prices at the pump have indeed gone down across the country. That's largely because the price of crude oil has dropped by nearly 25% since January, from $80 a barrel to just under $60 in early May.
It just takes time for that to kind of translate into lower gas prices.
UC Davis economics professor Derek Stimmel says California's gas market is different from the rest of the country.
We essentially produce and burn in our cars a different kind of blend of gasoline than the rest of the country.
That blend, California reformulated gasoline, is designed to reduce emissions and improve air quality and is mandated by the California Air Resources Board. And keep in mind, there's also a switch between winter and summer gas blends across the country, with summer blends being more expensive. Stimmel adds, supply chain lags can impact changes in price.
In California's case specifically, it's a little bit more complicated because it has to come to the refineries where we produce this special blend of gasoline.
California has the largest gas taxes in the country. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, as of April 2025, California drivers pay 90 cents per gallon between local, state, and federal taxes.
It is spring, and so we're past our rainy season, and people are driving a little bit more. And as we head into the summer, they'll be driving even more. And so that demand side pressure will also kind of keep the gas price high and maybe even push it up a little bit.
And this all comes as 2 refineries are set to close. The Phillips 66 refinery in the LA area this year and the Valero refinery in Benicia by next spring. The conversation doesn't end here. You can see my Dollars and Cents stories also streaming on the free ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. Remember, your money questions have answers. Email me at lpainter@abc10.com.
It's too hard to find fuel. That's the message from hydrogen car owners across the region. And now they're taking legal action, with some telling 10 on your side they have cars they can't even drive.
I just want to get out of this. I want my money back.
Jeremy Crooks bought his Hyundai Nexo back in 2022. He was hoping the hydrogen car would be the next big thing, but Jeremy and others like Bernard Gross tell 10 on your side the hydrogen cars they bought are a big headache, especially when it comes to trying to fuel them.
This station doesn't work, this station's offline, this station is closed, the cost is sky high.
Yeah, this is an absolute nightmare for thousands of people, Chris.
Attorney Jason Ingber represents clients across the Sacramento region and beyond with similar stories.
In Sacramento alone, because there's only one station in West Sacramento, people are facing way more challenges than anywhere else in the state.
He's launched a class action lawsuit against Hyundai Motor America, saying consumers are being misled about the viability of hydrogen cars in California.
Well, we want to get people out of these car notes. That's the first thing. Just get them some relief. People, are struggling everywhere, and they're making $500, $600 payments. Sometimes they're paying high APR financing on these cars, and they can't use them.
People like Bernard Gross. He bought his Hyundai Nexo back in 2021.
And now to protect my credit score, I'm just paying for a vehicle that I don't even drive. we started running into situations where you would go to a station and there might be a couple cars in line, and you might wait half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, and then maybe the car in front of you got the last little bit of hydrogen, or you hooked up to the station and then there was an error code.
It is now 5:50 in the morning. The sun is completely up, and I finally have a full tank.
Jeremy documented his recent trip out of town solely to fuel up.
And I've had to drive to Concord to get fuel, which already is an 80-mile drive to Concord, and then you're wasting 80 miles back. So it's 160 miles you're driving to, in hours that you're spending just to fuel up a car.
So what's the deal? Hyundai released this statement to 10 on Your Side, saying they've offered a 21-day car rental option to customers for trips outside the refueling infrastructure. Unfortunately, there have been shortages of hydrogen fuel for delivery to stations in Sacramento and the Bay Area, negatively affecting Nexo owners in the area. Hyundai is aware of these refueling issues and continues to support hydrogen infrastructure development in California.
And these companies know that there's a fuel lack problem. They know that there's stations that constantly close, and yet they're still selling the car to this day.
I also reached out to the operator of the fueling station, Iwatani Corporation of America.
It is still new technology, and there are challenges.
James Cast, executive director of Hydrogen, tells me they are making improvements.
We implemented actually a virtual queuing app so that you could basically join the queue on your phone from your house or from wherever you are. And while all the folks were on site waiting, when that time took a while, you could be doing your thing off in your day, and you reduce that time spent waiting there at the station. I know that at least us as Iwatani is trying to make that experience better every day.
But take a look, with cars like the 2023 Hyundai Nexo still being sold for more than $60,000, attorney Ingber is pushing back.
And the wheels of justice crawl, but Hyundai will have to answer for what they're doing.
Meanwhile, Iwatani tells me they plan to make additional upgrades this summer to improve the performance of the fueling stations in hot weather. And do you have a problem and don't know where else to turn? Email me at onyourside@abc10.com.
California's ban on the sale of new gas-powered vehicles by 2035 is falling apart. Today, the U.S. Senate voted to revoke the waivers that allowed California to pursue that goal in the first place. And we have been following this journey of these waivers for months now. ABC10's Becca Habegger shows us California is now threatening to sue.
Terrible day for your kids. Terrible day for air quality.
At a news conference Thursday, Governor Gavin Newsom accused Trump's GOP of making America smoggy again.
What this act did was allows polluters to pollute and pollute more.
In 2020, Newsom signed an executive order establishing a goal that 100% of in-state sales of new passenger cars and trucks will be zero emission by 2035.
We will be the first jurisdiction in the world to require all new cars to be sold to be alternative fuel cars.
Republicans opposed the move, calling it government overreach. But in order to enact the ban of the sale of new gas-powered vehicles, California would need to impose standards that are stricter than what federal regulations allow. So under the Biden administration, the EPA granted California 3 waivers.
So Newsom's edict.
Last month, however, Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley of Rockland introduced resolutions to revoke those waivers. They passed the House in April and the Senate Thursday.
Shameful what the United States Senate did today.
All those resolutions need now is the signature of President Donald Trump. If that happens, California Attorney General Rob Bonta says,
"Make no mistake, I'll be seeing the Trump administration in court."
He and Newsom say the way Congress went about revoking the waivers is unlawful. Kiley's resolutions use something called the Congressional Review Act, or CRA. Both the nonpartisan U.S. Government Accountability Office and Senate parliamentarian have said the CRA does not apply here.
Overturning their own Senate parliamentarian, overturning their own GAO who said you cannot do this. That's why we're confident in our lawsuit.
The CRA has been in place for 30 years. It has never, ever, not once, been used to apply to a waiver.
Reacting to the Senate passing his resolutions, Kiley called it a victory.
It's a huge victory for sanity. It's a victory for all Californians to defend the basic right to be able to drive a car of your choice rather than one chosen for you by the government.
State Senator Roger Nilo's family has been in the car dealership business for more than a century. He says consumer demand should drive the market.
We're just into offering people choices. If they want electric cars, we will sell them electric cars. If they want gas cars, we want to be able to sell them those vehicles.
Newsom and Bonta say they're ready to file the lawsuit as soon as Trump officially revokes the waivers by signing the resolutions. In Sacramento, Becca Habegger, ABC 10.
Both of California's senators are responding to today's vote. Senator Adam Schiff says in part, quote, today's vote will leave millions of Californians with dirtier air for generations to come. And by eliminating the filibuster to repeal clean air provisions, Senate Republicans have set a new standard that will haunt them in the future. Senator Padilla says he already placed a hold on EPA nominees going through the Senate confirmation process.
It's a historic first here in California, and it's happening in Sacramento County.
Yeah, for the first time, a sheriff's department, a DA's office, and a tribal government have come together to sign a memorandum of understanding. The goal, to take on the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous people, an issue that has largely been untracked and unresolved.
ABC 10's Devin Truby shows us how this new task force hopes to make a difference.
It started with a blessing, a spiritual moment for everyone in attendance and for those who weren't. The missing and murdered Indigenous people whose lives were cut short or never found.
These are not statistics. These are human beings.
California ranks 5th in the country for unsolved cases involving Indigenous people, and the numbers are heartbreaking. Indigenous people face a murder rate 10 times higher than the national average.
They are daughters, they are sons, they are sisters, they're mothers, people whose lives mattered.
Why Sacramento County is launching the state's first ever regional missing and murdered Indigenous people task force. District Attorney Tin Ho is providing a dedicated team, including a deputy DA, an investigator, and a victim advocate.
We run our own crime lab here in Sacramento, and with that crime lab, we will be able to expedite forensic testing to move a case along.
Sacramento Sheriff Jim Cooper is also stepping up, committing a team to revisit cold cases that may have slipped through the cracks.
Small rural counties that surround us, they're not very big. They don't have big populations, so their agencies are very small, where they have a few detectives and no one that specializes in homicide. I've got 3 homicide teams.
The sheriff's team is combing through old cases now and asking the community to come forward with any information they have.
Where the tribe could be helpful is that we know our people and we know our ways.
Hi, Devin Truby, ABC 10. I know this has been an issue for decades. How and why was the MOU able to come together now?
This man right here in the middle. I'll be honest with you. He came forward, his idea, and it was so important to improve the lives of Native Americans.
Assemblymember James Ramos, who, when he came into the assembly, made this his #1 issue.
That was our Devin Truby reporting. The sheriff's office says they are already working one cold case right now. Cases in Sacramento County will get the priority, but the task force is open to expanding and including more counties.
One of the state's most controversial projects is under scrutiny again tonight. The high-speed rail project is behind schedule and it's over budget. And high-speed rail officials say the estimated cost has increased yet again. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen is here to share the new price tag and also how lawmakers are responding.
Alex, I have reported that the state needs to come up with $7 billion by next summer to continue to fund the high-speed rail project. A new update tonight shows that $7 billion could possibly become $10.2 billion. And this comes as the state is facing a $12 billion budget deficit.
This project, as proposed, is not going to be built. And now we're spending billions and billions of dollars that we don't have.
As vice chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, Senator Tony Strickland says the state cannot afford to put more money into the controversial high-speed rail project. On Monday, high-speed rail officials say the state could possibly need to find an additional $10.2 billion by next summer in order to continue to fund the project, and there might be a $400 million cost reduction. Officials say this estimate is on the higher range and is largely due to inflation.
After the $10.2 billion, if it goes forward, is more expensive than the whole entire project that was proposed to the people of California.
Officials say the updated cost estimate for the Merced to Bakersfield corridor ranges from $34.9 billion to $38.5 billion. A big difference from the initial proposal of $45 billion for the entire project from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
That will be the first in the nation high-speed rail track is about to take place. And so I want to get it done. And that's our commitment.
The governor's recent May revised budget proposal, if approved, will provide at least $1 billion a year to the project through the Cap and Invest program.
My guess is he's going to use his slush fund and the cap and trade to come up with the other part of that money. Again, I think that's money not well spent.
Even with the criticisms from lawmakers and the state facing a $12 billion deficit, advocates say this is a beneficial long-term investment for California.
The High Speed Rail Alliance is an advocate for high-speed rail projects across the country. They say if any state can accomplish this goal, it's California.
I wish there was this kind of scrutiny on highway projects. We just assume that people want to drive, and we've designed our country to force people to drive. I don't think that's acceptable.
Adding that the project will eventually be cost-effective for residents in the long run.
Now, we reached out to the chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee for comment. Senator Dave Cortez's office was unable to provide us a comment. Alex.
And Jeannie, we know that federal funding for this project has been threatened, but from what we understand as well, a lot of the funding actually comes from the state too, right?
Yes, Alex, but state money could also be threatened. Now, Senator Strickland did introduce a bill that, if passed, would take the money that High Speed Rail is getting from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, and that would go towards the motor vehicle fuel account to help reduce the gas tax. And of course, that bill is currently making its way through the state legislature.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. And I also want to mention that we have an in-depth look at the High Speed Rail project on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. To the Point looks at what progress has been made and the many challenges ahead. You can find California's High Speed Rail on the home screen. Just download the app for free straight to your TV.
When you think of railroads, you might think of trains, steam engines, and boxcars.
Okay, go!
And here at the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad Museum, they do have all of that. Plus, this thing.
More hope!
What are we on right now? What is this thing?
This is a rail bus that we're on right now. We can carry 20 people.
Rail buses are pretty much what they sound like. They're gasoline-powered buses with railroad wheels on them. And they're pretty rare, according to docent Specs Lanham.
Absolutely old school, and these kind of conveyances were all built by the chief mechanics in the respective railroad shops. There was not a place you went to buy these.
Rail buses were not usually built to run on larger standard gauge railroads with freight trains. They were generally built to run on smaller tracks called narrow gauge railroads that linked small towns or logging camps to larger main railroads.
And so the Nevada County Narrow Gauge was built to move gold, timber, agriculture, and people down to Colfax from Nevada City and Grass Valley.
Back in the day, Nevada County was industrious, but difficult to get to because of the mountains, and you'll get to experience that on the museum's tour.
And we're going to back up into the meadow doing a maneuver called a switchback, which is how you climb up a mountain. You go forward, back, because you can't go straight over.
The area became much more accessible when brothers John and Edward Coleman invested in the narrow gauge tracks because, unlike standard gauge, it could be built on sharp corners and steep hills.
John Kidder was actually a civil engineer who built the Nevada County Narrow Gauge. And then the Coleman brothers wanted to get out of the business, so they sold it to John and Sarah Kidder.
Fun fact, after John Kidder died, Sarah Kidder became the first woman to actually own and operate a railroad. And this all happened before it was legal for women to vote.
She took over. She was in the office. She paid the dividends. She did the scheduling. She ran the railroad till 1913.
These days, the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad Museum keeps the small track heritage alive by restoring some of the last remaining narrow gauge locomotives.
What are we on now?
We're on engine number 5, an 1875 Baldwin locomotive.
Tim O'Brien is the vice director of the museum and says engine number 5 started out as a logging locomotive near Lake Tahoe, but then it became a movie star.
How many movies has it been in?
We figured about 26, 28 of them.
One of Engine Number 5's most famous scenes was in an early John Wayne movie called The Spoilers.
In the movie The Spoilers, they commandeered the train from the operators, and John Wayne was running it, and the other guys were firing rifles out the cabs, and they ran it through a big wall and overturned the whole thing.
Hollywood used Engine Number 5 from the 1940s to the 1970s because narrow gauge tracks were easier to move around to different set locations. After it retired in the 1980s, the museum acquired it and gave the engine a makeover and joined the rail bus as an ambassador for narrow gauge history. From the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus this week. We are here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartel's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartel's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.